Live.
I love how you have my favorite kill in the intro. That is nice.
A lot of great kills in that intro.
Oh, sorry.
All right, we are live. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Horror Syndicate. We're still trying to clear out these little bugs and glitches that we have, but hey, we have a wonderful show for you. So if you're just tuning in, you missed all the bullshit. So yeah, it looks like I got a couple of things I have to fix real quick. Okay, let's try that. Come on, motherfucker. You want to do an echo?
Echo.
Piece of shit. Fucking A. All right.
Very slight.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We have a great show for you tonight. If you're able to hear us or listen to us, sometimes Facebook likes to give us a little echo to let us know that we have to try harder to impress you. So, but you know, as we move along, we'll hopefully be able to give you the show that you are expecting and which we have for you right now. Welcome to the Horror Syndicate Live. My name is Brian Enright. We're going to go around the round table. You can find me at The Horror Jew on Twitter, or you can find me at Brian Enright on Facebook.com. Up next, we have Baron Craze. Baron, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing quite fine, and greetings to all, and to most of you, I'm the horror historian. To others, I'm the psychotic who's just ready to tear off somebody's head and shit down their throat because you got too many assholes out in life who are just being total dicks in life. But you can find me on Twitter under the Baron_Craze, and also on Facebook under Baron Craze, and also look up the Baron's Crypt.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Baron. And can't wait to check out your show this weekend. Up next, we have Jared Letourneau. Jared, good evening for joining us today. Or good evening joining us today. Shit, I don't fucking know. I'm all over the place.
Drink more.
Good evening, boils and ghouls. Jared here. You can follow me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau or on the Twitter universe at zombie_survivor.
Awesome. All right, up next, we have the one and only. Well, she is our one and only female, but she's here, and she's here every week giving us horror. Morgan, how are we doing tonight?
Okay, I guess.
Morgan, where can we find you, dear?
You can find me on Twitter at Morgan_Joel_S.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Up next, we have the one and only Sci-Fi Presents and Screenbox, Rayzilla. Ray, how are we doing tonight?
Happy New Year, horror fans. It's your old Uncle Rayzilla coming to you semi-erect from my lair here in...
Oh, it's going to be that kind of show.
Here in my lair, located somewhere off exit 8. Eve, the Turnpike. Sorry, these are the jokes, people. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
If you want to look at my stupid Facebook page, you can follow me at the name you see below. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter for more shenanigans, you can follow me at RayzillaNJ. Today's show is brought to you by the letters P and U and the number 666. Take it away, Brian.
Absolutely. And last but not least, we have our president and Fuhrer, Ray Zor. Ray, welcome.
I know it's confusing, but you can find me on Twitter at Rayzor_33. I also have a Facebook page that you can like if you would like. And it's, following comics, and I've been talking about Star Wars all day, so you can follow the Horror Syndicate, subscribe and follow and tweet and all that good stuff.
Yes, please follow the Horror Syndicate and like us. Not only like us, love us, respect us, and put us down in your memory. So we got a couple of things that we're going to talk about next week. Next week, if you're not in it, then you're fucking losing out. Next week, we are discussing Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th, not Wednesday the 11th. But Friday the 13th, we have a great show for you. We're going to discuss all things Friday the 13th, Jason X, Freddy versus Jason, all that fun stuff. We're going to go into trivia about Friday the 13th.
We're just going to talk about dudes named Jason.
We're going to talk about dudes named Jason. We're going to talk about Pamela Voorhees. We're going to talk about, people who weren't Jason, but, kind of took the name of Jason and hid behind a mask and was fake Jason. And
Hashtag Roy Burns lives.
Exactly. And then we're going to get down to Jason going to hell and his final fights with Freddy after he goes to space. Or was it before he goes to space? I don't know. He goes to space at one point, but before. So before he goes to space, he fought Freddy. So yeah, next week, tune in next Friday because we have a great fucking show for you. And we're going to discuss all things Friday the 13th. I'm excited. You should be excited. So be there. Up next, we have Bloody Streaming Roulette. Jared, what do we have for this week and what do we have for last week's for Bloody Streaming Roulette, Jared?
Last week, I took another week off to do a special article because my birthday falls on New Year's Eve. So I did a review of New Year's Evil. Very, very tame slasher, but it has excellent music. I enjoyed it. Honestly, the best part about it is the self-titled theme song by the name of the movie. That's probably the most memorable thing of the movie.
It's hard to find a copy of that one.
Scream Factory has a release of it.
Oh, well, I'm ordering it now.
But I am picking up my Bloody Streaming Roulette again this week. And for those of you listening that don't know what that is, it is a blind game that I play with streaming services. I do Netflix and Hulu generally. I'll just blindly pick a movie that I've never seen before and watch it, whether it be good or bad. Hopefully it's good. Next week, it looks like this weekend is going to be Late Phases. It's a werewolf movie.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard some good things about it. I haven't actually seen it yet, so I was kind of glad to land on it. When deadly beasts attack from the forest, it is up to a grizzled veteran to uncover what the residents of a secluded retirement community are hiding. Looking forward to it.
You watch these films so we don't have to.
Fuck you, Amazon.
I do my best.
All right, well, we're very excited. If you missed those titles, Jared, what were the titles again?
The movie I did last week was New Year's Evil, and this week is Late Phases from 2014. It's a werewolf movie that can be found on Netflix.
Awesome. Definitely going to check that out. I wanted to check that out for a while, Late Phases. I'm not sure. Is that the movie directed by David Hayter, who voiced Metal Gear Solid, a Solid Snake? Or
it looks like it looks like a Spanish or Hispanic guy, Adrian Garcia Bagliano.
Okay, so it's not the movie I'm thinking of. Well, I'll figure it out one day. My mind's all screwed up. So, but yeah. Also, Friday nights, you're not doing anything Friday nights. Check out the Midnight VHS presentation page. We'll also stream it on the Horror Syndicate, where you can find yourself a double feature of VHS horror movies that are out of print that you can no longer find. And sometimes for the double feature, I'll add in a special horror HD movie. For last week, we had Dead Alive, directed by Peter Jackson, which is, in the other states, I believe it's called Brain Dead. And, I can't think of the movie I played before that. Shit.
Your mom ate my dog.
Trash.
Street Trash, that's right. Thank you so much, Jared, for reminding me. Street Trash, where the message is don't drink because you will die.
Yes, that is the ultimate message. But it has some great gore. Oh, that's got some great gore.
I loved it.
Street Trash. I remember that movie. I remember it being very phosphorescent.
Yes.
The visual effects being very very vivid colors, greens and blues and yellows and things like that. People oozing all over the place.
Very much so.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was a fun movie. I loved it. I have it on DVD, and I discovered I had it on VHS, so I was like, fuck it, let's play this movie.
And there's some sort of toilet monster, too. Wasn't there? Am I thinking of the right movie?
There was a good toilet death, yes.
There is a toilet death.
Toilet monster sounds right up your alley, Ray.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
The
yeah.
toilet-
You know.
I believe the toilet monster is from a movie that was very similar to Street Trash called Slime City. Baron, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the name of it was Slime City. I forget who directed it and who produced it, but I remember there being a toilet monster.
I'm confused. I guess I'm mixing up my sleaze cinema.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've done it before. I fucked up with Tombs of the Blind Dead and Burial Grounds. It happens. It happens to all of us. Like, body dysmorphia and movies about mummy zombies. Yeah, everyone's gonna fuck it up. Also, we have our Horror Hall of Fame discussion that we will get into a little bit about later. And we have the Freddy versus Jason segment, which you will see pop up as we gradually go along. Throughout this week, we will have Freddy versus Jason. Basically, what that means is you need to vote for your favorite Freddy versus Jason kill. There'll be a round 1, round 2, round 3, and then last a round 4, where you take your favorite deaths and we put them into our segment for the Friday the 13th episode next Friday, and I'm really looking forward to that. Up next, we have our one and only discussion where we discuss Scream Queens, Women of Horror, but now the name of the topic is called Women of Horror. And Razor, who do we have this week?
Well, after almost no discussion, we decided on Elvira, Mistress of the Night. Or the Dark. Is it the Dark or the Night?
Of the dark.
Same difference.
Mistress of the Dark.
We decided on Elvira. She's not really a Scream Queen, of course, and this is why we were able to expand on the segment to Women of Horror. And again, she's also not really in many horror films. I think she did 2, maybe 3 films of her own. And what was the first one? Was it just Elvira, Mistress of the Dark?
Yes.
On
then-
Elvira's Haunted Hills. That
Yeah,
was the second film, I
The
believe.
second one.
There's her movie Macabre, which you can find a lot of those episodes where she hosts horror movies on Hulu and apparently Screambox, which we're not going to talk about, right?
Yep. Yeah. Good old Screambox. Hey, we want you to come back. How many emails of those did I get? Probably like 7 in one fucking day. But that's
Please.
okay.
Please come back. We need your money.
That's
Yeah.
okay. That's all right, though. But yeah, Elvira, also known as Cassandra Peterson, super major hottie. Everyone loves her in the horror circuit. You're right. She has hosted the Elvira videos where she is doing like kind of a riff tracks. And she has 2 movies, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and Elvira's Haunted Hills, where she co-stars with Riff Raff. What is his name?
From Rocky Horror.
From Rocky Horror. Richard O'Brien. I don't know why I lost that. I think it's the coquito that I'm drinking. Yeah, it's really easy to make. If you want the recipe, just email myself or Rayzilla at the end of the show, and I'm sure you'll get 2 different recipes.
He might give you the wrong recipe.
But give it a shot. Give it a whirl.
Where
If I could jump in on Elvira.
Yeah, go ahead.
Elvira came at a time in television where the traditional horror movie host had kind of vanished. When I was a young kid growing up in the 70s, we had, of course, Zachary the Cool Ghoul, who was the traditional horror show host, and he did all of his shtick, and then he would run the Atomic Brain or the Angry Red Planet or something like that. You would see these really great classic old films. There was a second one in the northern New Jersey area and also in the Philadelphia area called Chiller Theater. There was one called Creature Features, and then all of that kind of disappeared for a little while. And I can recall traveling. I would vacation in Florida every year with my family. And down in Florida, there was a horror show host by the name of Dr. Paul Barra. He was very popular. He was very popular in the southern portion of the country, and so I got a little bit of a fix whenever I went on vacation. I could go see go and tune in and see Dr. Paul Barra on the weekends. But then in sort of in the 80s, that kind of disappeared. The late night horror show host as cable television came into it, and Elvira very wisely came along. Cassandra Peterson created this character, and really filled a void that wasn't going on anymore in television. And she made it seem fresh and new, and grew enormously successful from it. But it's certainly nothing. She just took what was an established bit of performance in horror cinema, and she gave it a new twist and a fresh twist. Now, it doesn't hurt to the fact that she's incredibly attractive, and has the figure to match. She
doesn't seem to age.
No. She certainly doesn't. But I always found it to be genuinely funny. Some of the stuff, some of the material is like really, really, really genuinely funny. The movies she did her best. I don't think the movies were quite as good as the shows, the episodes themselves, but definitely worthy of the title of Woman of Horror. Because through her, a lot of guys and gals got turned on to some really terrific horror films. A lot of it is public domain stuff that you could go out and find and see on your own. But she also helped to turn people on to a lot of really good movies. So I think she's a worthy candidate and a great topic.
Did you know there was a show in 2007 called The Search for the Next Elvira?
Yeah.
It was on Fox.
No, that doesn't ring a bell.
You just found that out. I guess it didn't do well. There was only 4 episodes. But Kane Hodder and Rick Baker were on there. And Manvira. 2 of them. 2 Manviras.
Manvira.
Yeah, never heard of that. But,
sounds naughty. and so by the way, here's my I like to show off my autograph collection, and here is my Elvira autograph. As you could see, as you could see there it is.
I can't see anything, Ray.
Yeah.
Did you do something to your camera?
Huh?
You're back now. Try it again.
Oh, you didn't see it before?
No, for some reason when you go on, it keeps taking you off.
When I go on, it takes me off. There you go. Well, here she is. Here's Elvira. This was, I hope it's working. I hope you can see. Can you see it now?
No.
Now you can see it, right? I bet you can see it now.
For
right?
those tuning in, please use your imagination to imagine what Ray Zilla is showing you. It must be some type of error with Google Hangouts. In case you at home were wondering what program we were using to talk to each other live, we're using Google Hangouts, and right now Google Hangouts is being a fucking turd. So, but Ray, please describe.
Did I just pull a Mariah Carey? Did I just
eloquently?
Yeah.
Did I just pull a Mariah
sing along,
Carey?
guys. Just sing along.
I deserve a vacation too. Yeah.
Yeah, just describe what you are holding, and I will imagine it as well as everyone else watching.
You know what? Don't describe what you're holding. Let's stop right there. We're talking about Elvira, who knows what you're holding.
A wise choice, Razor. A wise choice. You can't, because you can put it in the hands of your lawyer, but it's never going to stand up in court. So
exactly. Well, I just figured, we're looking at Elvira's Haunted Hills, and you're holding a picture of her in one hand and who knows what in the other. It's a good thing we got the black screen.
This is true. This is true. I do laminate all of my autographs. So
Poor Morgan.
Boy, this one blew quickly.
Oh my
I was holding up an autograph. I have a very nice color 8x10 of Elvira.
Do you have? Did you meet her or did you get that somewhere?
No, I met her. She had come to the offices at Rock Center. She was actually looking for us to finance the second movie, Haunted Hells. She wanted to see if we would come in as a financier, and we said no.
Oh, we can see you again. We can see you again. What did you have? What did you have? Go.
You could see me again. You can
Son
say,
of a
"Oh,
bitch."
really?"
Yes. Okay, you're right there.
All right,
All right.
It's working now.
Just hold it up the whole show, just in case.
Just do it. Just do it. Right.
Yeah, there it
Hold
is.
right to your face the whole time.
There you go. And you now see the autograph.
she is.
from,
Yeah, there we go.
Elvira.
For
Are you
those-
sure you can see? Are you absolutely sure that you can see this?
Yes.
Now? You
For those who
positive?
are watching at home,
You
Google
completely
Hangouts says
positive that you
blessed
can
Rayzilla.
Because you
to
can't,
show
you know. This is
All I can see are her dirty pillows.
This is live television, folks. You know, trying to be a good sport here. All right, there you go.
The
All
World
right.
Wide Web we have here. Thank God. I don't know what I would do without internet because, I don't think I would have been able to go to sleep tonight if and I didn't see Rayzilla holding up a picture of Elvira signed with her boobs. I think that I would have been very upset and not be able to sleep well tonight. But hopefully the coquito will help me drink better or sleep better while I'm drinking.
Help you drink better for sure.
I spoke with her and her husband. They pitched us Elvira's
Oh,
Haunted
she's
Hill,
married? Son of a
and
bitch.
we were. And
You're
I
married
also
too,
have a
right?
calendar. She
Oh,
also,
that's right.
she also sent me. She sent me an
got you.
Elvira calendar that's pretty damn spicy. That she signed as well. But yeah, they were looking to Sci-Fi to come in as a financier.
And
And
Sci-Fi said no.
Yeah.
Right up Sci-Fi's alley.
not at the time, you know. Not
What a
it's a very weird environment, you know, what's in vogue and what isn't.
So hold on. Let me set this up. Elvira comes in with her husband to try to get this movie financed, and you're sitting at the table. Now this is just my imagination. You're sitting at the table with the rest of the execs, and you're like, "Sign this. Sign right on your boobs, please." Is that how it went?
No.
No. Nah.
No, it went more like this. It went, oh, hi, nice to meet you, Elvira and Elvira's husband. We're not interested in your movie because we're looking more into about sharks being in a tornado. So your movie doesn't cut it, but thank you for coming in. We're gonna go have the sharks and tornadoes and who else did you have?
Debbie Gibson.
Ray, did
Yeah.
we lose you? Oh
No,
we didn't
I'm
lose you.
here.
Okay.
No,
That was in like 2000, 2001, wasn't it? That was a long time ago.
The truth of the matter is that we were making monster movies. That's what we wanted. Monster movies.
Yeah,
We were
like
we were making
like
monster
the werewolf
movies, one after
the
another.
werewolf movie with Kevin Sorbo.
I'm sorry?
the werewolf movie with Kevin Sorbo.
I don't recall.
You know, well, I got to look that up. I can't remember, but it was like
We did a werewolf movie with John
Kevin
Saxon.
Oh no, this had Kevin Sorbo. My wife loves Kevin Sorbo.
The
Dude,
funny
Kevin
thing about Kevin
Sorbo.
Sorbo was here's a story about
Oh,
Kevin
I think I
Sorbo.
know what you're talking about.
We wanted him for movies for the longest time, and his agent kept saying he's not interested, and then we later discovered that the agent never spoke to him whatsoever about it. I mean,
Oh my
here
God,
we
so-
are. Here, you know, stop and think about it for a moment. Here we are, financiers. The movie doesn't get made without us, and we're calling you saying we want you in the movie, and the agent's saying no, and we gave up asking. And he eventually caught wind of it and jumped in, but it was, you know, by then, you know, the movies were leaning more towards the Sharknado kind of stuff, and I was getting phased out of the
Cry wolf.
situation. But it was
Werewolf.
Over the top style.
it was no, but it was just foolish on his agent's part, because here we are saying, here's work, hello, and they just kept turning it down.
Well, you have nothing
So
to
you
worry about because Kevin Sorbo is only doing Christian-related movies now. Like that's it. Like Walmart has him on their contract to make like every Christian Bible-related movie ever
The
made.
faith-based films do very, very, very well.
Were you there in 2007, 2008? Because that's when Never Cry Werewolf came out.
Me, yes,
With Nina Dobrev and Kevin Sorbo.
yeah, I was there. I was there up until 2012.
It may not be a sci-fi film, but that's where I saw it.
He may have.
Yeah, I did too.
He may
I
have done
think
one or
so.
two towards the end, but again, I was getting, they added more people on. I was getting pushed out at the time, and so a number of things got made that I wasn't a part of.
Should have taken the deal
That
with
could have been one
Elvira.
of them. Say again?
Should have taken the deal with Elvira.
Who knows? Who knows if it would have done well or not? Like I said, you go through what's in vogue, and monster movies were working. We were getting great ratings. The two things were getting good ratings: Battlestar Galactica and the Saturday night movies. And sometimes the Saturday night movies were doing better than Battlestar Galactica. And so the natural instinct of a programmer is when something works, you want more of it. That's why you have 6 different CSIs, and you have Chicago Hope and Chicago Fire, and The Voice and the competition shows, because as programmers, when something works, we want more of it.
Right. And this was like 2001, so Elvira was losing steam as a commodity. So I mean, it's from a business standpoint, you kind of had to move on. I feel like
it just
I feel like the 80s and
wasn't.
90s were her time.
We weren't
totally.
greenlighting gothic comedies. We were greenlighting monster movies. Running, jumping, screaming, bleeding, high body count monster movies. Yeah. Hammerhead sharks and giant snakes and T-Rexes and Cyclopses and
Sharktopus.
and yeah, stuff that we didn't make that we bought. Like Sharktopus.
Megapython.
Sharktopus got made with us in mind, but we really didn't have much to do with Sharktopus at all. We just bought it.
Did you have anything to do with Megapython versus Super Gator?
Yes.
Tiffany and Debbie Gibson.
Yes, I did.
Throw another one out there that I saw.
And now you will take your punishment, Ray Canal.
You see, the best thing about what you've been saying, Ray.
I almost feel like
The best thing you've been saying, Ray, is like I'm sitting here like, Ray, are you making up these movies? Or are you just pulling these movies out of your ass? And then I have Ray Cannell over here saying, yes, I was behind that movie. Yes, I was behind. And it's like movies that I was like, really? They exist? And then you're just confirming it. It's like
we would watch if the sci-fi. Me and my brother-in-law and a couple others. When sci-fi would start promoting some of these movies that were so ridiculous, like what did I just say? Versus
Megapython versus Gatoroid or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the Debbie Gibson Tiffany one.
Yeah, when they promoted the
Hey,
that's the reason I watched
and you
that.
guys laugh. That's directed by Mary Lambert.
I love Debbie Gibson and mostly Tiffany. That's why I watched it. And then they had a girl fight in the movie.
Which was
wish I would've
my
been on
doing.
set that day.
I insisted that there be the cat fight. And
Well, thank you for that. It's like a dream come true.
I think I told this story here. I had a wonderful meeting with Mary Lambert. We laughed our asses off. She was totally in on the gag of having Debbie Gibson and Tiffany and just wanting this really, and we really wanted an exaggerated cat fight with really big punches and people flying over tables, and we had the best discussion about it. She came into the office at Rock Center, and It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. They helped promote it. They hosted the night. The night of the premiere, we shot additional material of them on a set together, hosting together. It was, if you grew up listening to those two gals and you fantasized about those two gals, we really wanted to deliver the goods. And I think we did on that one. The movie's stupid as shit, but
It is. It's a bad movie, but seeing Tiffany
it's
is
a
great.
dumb friggin' movie, but god damn it, you laugh your ass off.
Which one was the one that starred the guy who played Steve Urkel? Because I did see that one.
I don't know that one.
Was that
Stefan
Crocosaurus?
Urkel?
Was that-
White?
Was that Mega Octopus versus Crocosaurus? Am I just making up names now?
No, it's pretty close.
Okay.
You know what?
I think put Crocosaurus in something. It's probably accurate.
Which is the one where Nick's in the airplane and he's like, "I'm sick," and then he looks out the window. He's like, "Oh shit!" And then a shark jumps up and eats the airplane, and then it just dies in like 3D disaster.
that was Mega Shark.
That's Dawn of the Dead.
That was Mega Shark. That was the first
that
one
was-
from the Asylum. I'm pretty sure of it. And again, you know, we made a lot of films, but we also bought. My primary job was to buy movies that were already finished and get them on the air. And Mega Shark was one of those movies where it was already finished. It was already done. I didn't have to do anything except negotiate the deal. And we acquired, and then we stuck our name on it. We called it a Sci-Fi Channel original because we got the premiere, and we stuck our name on it. We put it on the air.
Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus.
That's the one with Steve Urkel.
2010.
I knew I saw that one. I was like, "Yo, that
Mega Shark versus
like,
Crocosaurus.
Steve Urkel got."
Yeah, I think that one got. I think that one was a purchase, not necessarily something that I had to sit down and shepherd through the process. Because that's the other thing that I did was I shepherded these films from the concept through the various drafts of the script. Right down to the casting. I looked at rehearsals. I looked at audition tapes. Raw cuts. I would shepherd the film all the way through to the end.
Well, what's the one movie where there's sharks involved? And the one guy says, I kid you not, he says to this girl, it's the main guy and the main girl, and they're on a pier late at night after they just witnessed a bunch of people on a cruise ship get eaten by a huge shark. And the guy looks at the girl and says, "You know what I want to do right now?" And she says, "What?" And he says, "I really like to take you home and eat your pussy." And then they go home and they have sex. What is the name of that movie? I know it was you guys that were in charge.
All right, well, first of all, Brian, that was on
Jaws.
No. Dude,
It
stay
was
off.
Jaws: The Revenge. Michael Caine.
Stay off the pipe, Brian.
I dead. Oh, I'm gonna look it up. And you're
No,
gonna,
because we would never have. We would. No. Now this was advertising.
That was Michael
television.
Caine saying to Mississippi in Jaws: Revenge. I'm telling you.
This was advertiser-based cable. We would never have that line in the movie. You didn't see
no,
that on Sci-Fi.
not maybe on cable, not on cable, but that line was said on DVD.
But the movie, I could tell you what the movie is, and it was one that I was heavily involved in. That was Jersey Shore Shark Attack.
Lord.
Was that the one?
Remember Jersey Shore Shark Attack? They had, oh my goodness! Now we had a cameo from.
I was just thinking about that. I was literally just looking at that up on IMDb.
Yeah, that one I
Oh.
really was.
Hilarious.
I cast a good friend of mine in that one, and Paulie Walnuts is in it, and
And the guy from InSync.
yeah, Joey Fatone has a
Right.
great
Yeah.
great cameo in it. Yeah, I had a lot to do with that one. Yes,
Oh my
all the
gosh.
Italian references, all of the Italian gags. Yeah, we had a good time with that one. That was made for fun. We were having a lot of fun.
All right.
Other news.
So the movie, I found it, and this is the name of the movie. It's called Shark Attack 2.
It probably ran on Sci-Fi, but I didn't. No,
Okay.
that's not one that I did.
Because I just wanted to make sure because I couldn't believe when I first heard that line. It said, the movie came out in like 2009 or something. And when I heard it, it still hurt my virgin ears when I heard.
We would not have put dialogue like that in the movie. No.
Okay.
One of the things that you can really that you can certainly notice throughout the time that I was working on the movie is, a real lack of sensuality. There's, it would drive me a little crazy when I was dealing with European filmmakers, because they would say to me, Ray, we need the scene in the film where they find a lake and the girl must bathe in the lake. I need this scene. I need, and it made no sense in the film. Half of the cast has been, killed and eaten by the monster. And of course, we're going to stop and take a bath in the lake, because, I got a little schmutz on me, and I would explain to them that, we've only got a limited amount of time. There's 8 commercial interruptions. I have no use for a scene like that. So whenever you see the movies that we did for sci-fi, there's not a lot of sex in them at all. There's not a lot of skin in them at all. We really wanted them to be action films. And when we did Snakehead Terror, we cast Carol Alt. And a critic actually criticized us for not putting her in a bikini. The reviewer said, here you have Carol Alt, one of the most gorgeous women on the planet, and you covered her up the whole film. Well, that was the part. That was the character. And I don't believe in putting the action on hold to show a shower sequence. I mean, or this and that. We were trying to make more action movies.
Yeah, it would have been silly if it was like part of the movie where she's walking around with bra and panties, has nothing to do with the fucking movie, and then it's just like next scene she's like, oh, I'm wearing clothes again.
Or even the last shot, where they kill the monster, they're covered in the guts of the monster, and they look at each other and they kiss. Ooh, baby, that made me hot.
Yeah.
It's not real. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that we really tried to stay real to the moment. If we're telling a story about a monster, then you want to be real to the moment. And if your friends are dead, that doesn't make you horny.
No, it doesn't.
Exactly.
I'm not going to drop trout and take a shower.
Yeah, you're not going to be like, oh, my friends are dead. Let's go home and eat my pussy. Like, they don't say shit like that.
Now, if the producers chose to shoot scenes like that, that was fine, and that would go into the DVD, that would go into the VHS, and that wouldn't be part of our print. But no, that was never really part of the formula.
Okay.
I think we're digressing a great deal here.
We are a bit.
We are. Elvira, Baron, you've been quiet. You have anything you want to say about Elvira, or you just been listening and drinking?
No, a couple of things. Let's see here. Let's backtrack a little bit. First, on Ray Zoa, you mentioned that a lot of the horror hosts kind of died out basically in the early 80s portion. There's one that was pretty local in the Philadelphia area. It was a show called A Saturday Night Dead. It ran from about 84 to maybe closing out in the early 90s. That was a really interesting one. We had a lot of B movies on it, just to kind of throw it out. However, on Elvira, some people may or may not know this. She did get sued by Vampira.
That's right.
She got sued for Vampira stating that
Likeness rights.
her personality, if you would.
Yeah.
It was dismissed in court. So it was interesting. And of course, if you look through Elvira's life, I mean, if you go through all the things she got involved with, it's quite incredible. I mean, she was hosting a lot of these movies and shows and comic books that ran on Marvel Comics. And then, of course, you get into the drinking phase of it. Hey, she was a big spokesperson for Coors Beer for all the Halloween kind of.
That's right.
I had a standee of her in my room at one time.
I actually still do have a standee in where my library is with all types of books on all subjects. And of course, I know somebody who does own a pinball game that she had licensed her image and picture onto. So she is really big in all the collector's markets for things she has done. And she was able to escape from a lawsuit that didn't hurt her career in any way. But it basically destroyed, in a way, Vampira, who was, usually associated with the Edward Jr. So it kind of crushed her career. So I would say that she's made out fairly well in the direct relation to the fans. Maybe not with movies, but just with all the attention she gets from all the events she goes to.
Of course.
Baron, real quick, you have a shout out. Vincent Mento, he is a new listener to the Horror Syndicate Live, but he is a current listener to the Baron's Crypt, and he follows your show, and he just wanted to give a shout out.
Oh, yeah, Vincent, he does a lot of, he posts a lot of questions on the Baron's Crypt when we have a guest on or something. So, Vincent, thanks for chiming in and listening to the show.
Thanks, Vincent.
Thank you, Vincent.
Vincent.
It's always great to have new people listening to the show and watching us, and especially when they're coming in organically through Baron's Crypt or through the website. So, but yeah, I figured I let you know, Baron, that you have a fan from Baron's Crypt watching you on the Horror Syndicate Live.
Thank you.
We take walk-ins.
Awesome.
All right, so anyone else have anything they want to cover about Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark, before we move on to our next segment?
Let me just ask this question. Is she a scream queen?
Not to me.
No, I was
Okay.
Not a scream queen.
I had an argument with somebody about this with my old website, and I said, no, she's not. Screams in October for 31 Days of Horror, and we came up with 9, and we're like, okay, we need one more, and he's like, how about Elvira? I was like, nope. You can use her as maybe a horror icon, but not a scream queen.
Yeah,
like,
that's a great distinction.
Yeah,
I agree.
So that's all I have to say. She's great. Elvira's great.
She has a huge impact on the horror genre, but I would not consider her a scream queen.
That's why she would be, I'd say, an icon. Just like Svengoolie up here. Anybody heard of Svengoolie?
Sure. We get Svengoolie here in northern Jersey, but
I think he's from Chicago.
Yeah, no, I think that's the perfect distinction between a scream queen and a horror icon. Of course, one could be both, but those also, you can have individuals as well.
All right. So I have a question for everybody before we move on to the next topic.
It's not another sci-fi movie, is it?
No. It's about Elvira. How many? This is going back to the days of VHS. How many of you had Haunted Hills? But always rewound. You know that part I'm talking about. I'm looking right at you. You know that part. You would always rewind and play that part in slow motion. How many of you did it?
Come on. Talking to?
Talking to the world right now. I'm looking right at the camera. Looking right at the camera.
What happened in Haunted Hills? Because I know at the end of the first one,
there's a scene when she gets out and she's naked and she's putting on clothing. And the kids have the ladder up and they're looking at her through the window. Am I the only one who knows this scene?
That was the first movie.
Yes.
I can't say that I've seen it. I'm afraid.
All right. Well, I was one of those kids. I was like, yeah, let me play that part in slow. And then I found out it was a stunt. No. I found out it was a stunt double. And this whole time, I didn't even.
Which is weird because she posed nude when she was younger, before she was Elvira.
Well, yeah, she did some stuff for Playboy, I think, and she was also before she was Elvira, she was Cassandra Peterson, and there's this really good book about groupies. I forget the name of it, but she has a whole segment about it. I know we discussed it earlier on the show. We're covering Elvira, not so much Cassandra Peterson, but honestly, go check it out. And it's got like all these like famous stories of all these groupies because Cassandra Peterson was a groupie. She hung out. She never slept with, but she hung out with Led Zeppelin. She hung out with Elvis Presley, and she in the end she lost her virginity to Tom Jones, who wasn't very nice to her. But
the Welsh Elvis.
Yeah.
Tom Jones.
Yeah. What Jared's doing. What Jared's doing.
I think he's having a seizure, actually.
Who, Tom Jones? All right, so we're going to move on to our next segment. Up next, thank you, Elvira, very much for hanging out with us. But up next, we have our Razor's Burn. Now, what this is that our leader and Fuhrer, Razor, he asked us questions that have to do with horror, and this is also for audience participation. If you feel like you want to chime in, please comment below on the Facebook Live video group chat, and give us your answers, and we'll even shout you out on the website as well. And we're not going to do anything crazy where we burn an animal in your name, but we're gonna at least mention you on the air. So
this is
it's
the part where we want to hear from you.
Exactly.
And if you like what we're doing, tell your friends.
Exactly. So Razor's Burn. Ray, what do you got for us tonight?
Razor Burn.
I have 4 questions. And the first one of them, I believe we did in an earlier episode, but I want to cover it again because we did something on the Facebook page and got a big response. The first question is kind of going back to my comic book writing. Okay, you ready?
We are ready.
What the hell was that?
Meh.
Okay, suddenly you wake up. You look outside and you see smoke in the air and wrecked cars and the dead are walking the streets. What is the first thing you do, and then where do you go? Your families don't exist. It's just you. You start, Morgan, since you left first.
Oh, Lord. Wait, so is this like the beginning of this is the
beginning of the zombie apocalypse. You wake up and it's zombie time.
Okay, so before this moment, it was not the zombie apocalypse.
Nope, you wake up to it.
Okay, I'd probably check my phone and be like, oh, what's going on? That's what I do every morning anyway, so
you're like Rick Grimes. He wakes up from a coma and I'm gonna check my phone first.
Yeah, I'd be like,
What's my status?
Who's online?
Go on our Twitter.
I'm right now. I'd go live right away on Facebook. Wake up, go live. Hey, everybody. What's cracking in the world?
That's a great
Does it look
answer.
like this where you are, or?
So where would you go after you found out that there were, would you go anywhere, or would you stay at home, and what kind of zombie survivor would you be?
I would go to a store.
A store?
Except that probably wouldn't work out very well because there'd probably be a bunch of people there.
Store, maybe get yourself a nice piece of fish.
Yep.
You know?
Get some bagels and lox.
Get some bagel, a little schmear.
Twinkies.
Get some Twinkies, guys.
Twinkies.
Brian, what would you do?
Now you're thinking the long term now.
What am I thinking? I'm thinking that I just drank this whole bottle of Coquito really fast. And my answer would be I would just wait for everyone to die out so I can then start looting. And I know all the great places to loot because I will hide out with my canned food, wait till everyone's dead or turns, and then I would just, pick up the stragglers, form a society, kind of like the governor did, but a little bit of a Negan line twist to it. And yeah, just start my own revolution and drive around with a huge giant tow truck with spikes on it, and go Mad Max on bitches. That's what I would do. You want my honest answer?
Oh Lord.
Okay,
Mad Max Beyond
Baron,
Thunderdome.
With Tina Turner?
Yes.
What about you, Baron?
All right, so actually, believe it or not, a lot of people who are now listening know that I've actually played this scenario out on my show. So,
Ooh.
yeah. So I'm what you would call the person who goes to any kind of store or anything ever. I'm always the guy who's looking for what weapon can I grab immediately to use, and which way is the fastest way out of the damn building. Because once I get outside, it might be a little bit better than being in the confined zone of everybody around me. So if I'm at home and I wake up to this problem, a lot of people know that there's a certain room in my house that's just, let's say, really endorses the Second Amendment highly and heavily. That room will be going there first to make sure I have everything I need. which is always fully stocked and ready. And I just wait a little bit and know my neighbors very well, and basically start venturing to their houses and taking what I want, and coming back to homestead that's already been secured. So I'm ready. Anytime. Let's have it. See, I played this game out 1,000 times with people, so they're all knowing, going, yeah, Baron's ready for it. He's just hoping it just happens tomorrow.
All right, so we're going to Baron's house.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just.
You might be.
This is just me prepping.
Hey,
Okay.
I watch the prepper shows. I like those people.
Oh, those are good shows. The Doomsday Prepper shows.
I love them. They're nice people, really. They
Yeah,
teach you important skills.
they do. They really do.
Bag and ready to go. You just
I would before it happens dig a tunnel in my backyard. You know, like in 10 Cloverfield Lane. That's a fallout shelter type of thing.
Oh,
No, what about you, Ray? Jared, you're last. 'cause
Well,
you're the
me
zombie survivor.
personally, I think I would most likely cover myself in my own excrement and wander the streets weeping. That would.
Good answer.
That would.
oh.
This is before the zombie apocalypse, people. This is one of Ray's hobbies.
This is just a Tuesday in Ray's life.
Tuesday night, yeah.
Ray. Okay, so you said our family's not there. What happened to our family? Are they zombies, or did they just
exist.
abandon us? They don't
They
exist.
don't exist.
Okay.
You don't
You're
have
just by yourself. Yeah.
They joined
Yeah.
Ray Zilla's tribe and they cover themselves in Ray Zilla's poop.
And
Like,
I
I see my
What
daughter
happened to your
with poop smeared
family?
all over her face with a spear. Saying,
And I
"Hands
become
up,
the
Ray Zilla."
leader.
Hashtag horror. No, just the only reason I say families don't exist is because I know the first thing I would do if I woke up and saw that outside would be go to my family and make sure they're okay and take care of them. But if you take them out of the equation, then you could think about what you would do as, because I wrote a comic about this, and the guy wakes up, goes to work, and nobody's there at work because it's at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and he goes to the door. It's a big Home Depot, and he goes to the front door. The manager's sitting there trying to open the door, put the key in the the lock, and he's a zombie. So anyway,
I think
I would go
we
to
got-
Home Depot. A lot of weapons there.
I think we got the best of both worlds. If we go hang out with Baron and cover ourselves in Ray's shit, I think that we'll be able to survive the apocalypse pretty well.
Oh God.
I'm not gonna cover myself in my own shit. But
I'll drink the Snapple bottles, but I don't throw them away because they could make nice little cocktails later on for the apocalypse. So you got to be prepared all the time.
Molotov or the real,
Molotov.
Okay.
I like to
And
cover
for-
Inferno while we're at it. If hell's breaking loose on life, let's just have a nice Inferno while we're at it.
And I think the Baron and I would work well in concert together. He throws the Molotov cocktails. I, a la Gigi
Your
Allen.
shitty ass out there.
I would I'd wake up and jump on the Xbox. That's what I would do.
It's
That's
the
Jared's
primate
turn.
in me. I think it's the primate. There's like a little simian part of my brain that just makes me want to throw my own feces. So
I honestly think that the people who were born in 1985 and beyond would be the first to go because we wouldn't have technology. We wouldn't know what to do without cell phones. I think that we would be the first to go to freak out, lose our shit.
Over for you.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
millennials?
yeah, the millennials, but it's also a good proposition because you could have the Millennial Thunderdome where you could just have all these young kids born at a certain time have all the old heads sitting around, be like, and like making bets on like who's going to kill the other person.
And
like,
the millennials
will be the Tina Turner. She'll be the leader of the Thunderdome.
Which
And-
one's
and
gonna
the-
figure out
and
what
the
to do
bus-
first?
The fucking winner,
tweeting,
the fucking winner gets the Wi-Fi password. Okay, that's what happens.
Perfect.
Nice.
Now can we hear Jared's answer?
Yes.
We got other questions.
I don't live in a densely populated area as you all do, so I would be able to drive out of town for a little ways after I collect all the supplies at my house, and I actually have a farmhouse in the middle of Kansas that I could fortify, an old family farmhouse. Will be good
Okay,
for
now
a
you're
bit.
just Now you're just talking about the plot of Night of the Living Dead.
Yes,
You got the keys to the gas pump?
I do.
Oh, guys.
And because it's literally in the middle of nowhere, it's going to take zombies like a year to walk there.
Oh, they'll get there.
Eventually.
All right.
I'm gonna burn them. They go up pretty easy.
You ready for question
Wait,
two?
wait, wait. No, wait.
What?
I have to say something.
Oh, come
The city
on.
where I the city where I
You've
live
heard enough,
is
haven't you,
the
Morgan?
city
You've had
that
enough.
the guy is in the beginning of Zombieland. Like, he's like, I'm in Garland, Texas, and it just looks like this all the time. Like, that's where I live, and it does not look like that. I don't know what you're talking about, but anyway. Yeah.
Best part of Zombieland is
Sorry.
the beginning of the credits. Where that's all. Otherwise, that movie's no good. Anyway, okay. I think we covered this before, but I want to do it
Dare
again.
you.
I wasn't impressed. Favorite John Carpenter film. The reason I'm doing this is because it was posted on our Facebook, pictures of it, and we got a big response. And I just want to know a recap of what everybody's favorite John Carpenter movie is. Anything. It doesn't have to be horror.
Big Trouble in Little China.
I knew you were going to say that.
Boom.
Shot it out.
Prince of Darkness.
Ooh.
Nice.
Hmm.
The Thing. The second time I saw it.
Brian.
See that? Why would you ask me that question? Because I'm not going to just give you one movie.
That's a loaded question.
But you're going to have to repeat the question because he wasn't listening.
No. My favorite John Carpenter movie.
Fine. What's the
of all
best one?
time. All of them starring Kurt Russell, and also including Assault on Precinct 13. My favorite one is Escape from New York, hands down.
I'm going to go with.
Ooh.
I love Halloween and I love The Thing, but I remember when I saw the poster for Vampires for the first time, I was like, "Oh my God, John Carpenter's making a vampire movie. It's going to be great." And James Woods I loved it. So
I actually owned that on VHS back in the day.
I used to.
Back when they stopped making VHSs.
All right.
James Woods is a fucking saint.
What?
That's surprising, Ray. I like that choice. Vampires, that's nice.
Yeah, that's a good
man.
choice.
I think that gets forgotten.
It is forgotten. That is a forgotten movie. Absolutely.
That's
It's
a
good
movie I
pick.
could have seen sequel to it with Bon Jovi in it, New Jersey Connection.
Bon Jovi.
But I thought it could have spawned more than one sequel. It's based on it has a lot of history in it, which I like. Based on that, they could have had a lot of made a lot of other sequels, but is that terrible?
So,
Los Muertos.
so guys, no Ghosts of Mars, really?
I love that movie, but it's not my favorite. Ice
That's
Cube all the way.
I never made it all the way through that one.
What?
Yeah, not because I didn't like it. It's like every time it was on, I would catch it like in the middle, or it was I start watching it and fall asleep or something like that. Not because it's a bad movie. I was enjoying it, but it's just I need to probably watch it eventually.
Ray,
It's
no.
definitely more of an action.
It's
but
pretty
good
fucking
flick.
awful movie.
Hey.
I've heard that, but,
Hey.
but some of us like awful movies, like Shocker.
Oh man, no, Shocker's not as bad as the Resident Evil movies. I'll throw that out there.
I saw Ghost of
All right.
Mars in a private screening, and it didn't play well in the room. A lot of the people I was with didn't care for it.
It doesn't surprise me. Anthrax, Buckethead, they had amazing soundtrack to that movie.
Agreed. That is a strong soundtrack, absolutely. But
Some
the
say
film
it's a better
itself-
soundtrack than Suspiria. I'm just messing around.
John Carpenter said something about how Ghosts of Mars was the prime example of what happens when Hollywood takes a shit on your idea.
Yeah, well, that happens. That happens
Hollywood,
more
baby.
often than not.
Yeah.
So do you think it was either Natasha Henstridge or the casting of Ice Cube that shat on that? movie.
I thought Ice Cube and Natasha Hendricks did a pretty decent job for what they were given. It didn't seem like a John Carpenter movie at all. Without his name being attached to it, and maybe like some of the scenes where he's like, no, it didn't seem like a John Carpenter movie at all. It seemed very, very confused to what it wanted to be, and it's just a prime example of what happens when you let Hollywood take over. Because they're budgeting your movie, which, for granted, Ray, Zill, and I talked about this before. Someone gives you a shitload of money to make a movie. They're going to want to have their ideas being presented in the movie. They may not be the best ideas, but they're giving you money to make a movie that you want to do. So, and then, of course, there's the contract signing and the fucking legal opportunities you have to take. And the fucking lawyers and the fucking producers and the producers, friends and families encouraging him. It just seemed like Ghost of Mars is like a fucking shit show.
It was his last big budget film.
Until Halloween comes out here directly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll move on to the next. This is kind of a tough one. So you have the opportunity to reboot a beloved horror series, and you were tasked with creating a cinematic universe with 2 franchises, with the exclusion of A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, or Halloween. Which 2 horror franchises would you make into your own cinematic universe?
Oh, no.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a mouthful.
Yeah. Which 2 horror franchises will you put in your cinematic universe? Not Halloween, not Friday the 13th, and not A Nightmare on Elm Street, because that's too easy.
I want Chucky versus the Ghoulies.
You could do Ghoulies, Munchies, and what's the other one? Gremlins.
Yeah, Munchies. Yeah, Ghoulies, Munchies, and Gremlins.
And Critters.
Damn
And
it!
Critters.
Critters 4. Woohoo!
Anybody else got an answer? That's kind
Wait,
of what I
so
heard
is it
Baron.
supposed to be like a
Repeat
like
it
a Freddy versus Jason thing, or
Yeah, but there's going to be multiple. It's like the Marvel universe. They start out with Iron Man and then
okay, I
started
got
adding characters
Yeah.
to it, trying to do
Yeah.
it. Whether Dracula, Frankenstein, and all the other ones. Think about it like that. You could take Scream, and I know what you did last summer, and make them in the same universe. I wouldn't. So do I need to repeat it?
No.
Is this too tough?
No, I get it. I got it. But that's a toughie.
You know what I would do?
It's alive in basket case.
No. I would totally do Alien and Blade Runner. Put them in the same universe. I think it would make the most logical sense.
They could be in the same universe now.
because the androids, like in Blade Runner, are the same androids they use for Alien and Aliens, and it's like on Earth, they're being hunted, but they're totally okay to use if they're government issued. And I think that it would be cool if the Xeno during like the Blade Runner time, and Harrison Ford has to hunt down all of these xenomorphs who are impregnating all these androids, and they create like robotic xenomorphs or something like that. I don't know. I think you could go a whole bunch of ways with it. That's just my
Aren't they
theory.
both Ridley Scott movies too? But nobody likes my idea, basket case versus It's Alive.
Well, they could share the basket.
Well, they could.
I was thinking.
Hellraiser and Reanimator.
I would love to live in a world where I could see Pumpkinhead and The Fly be merged as a cinematic universe. I think that you could take the Jeff Goldblum The Fly as the first film in the series, The Fly 2 as the second film, but do sort of like a Rogue One where you stick, Pumpkinhead in the middle of the 2 plots. and Pumpkinhead has to avenge the death of Jeff Goldblum. The son wants Pumpkinhead to go after the people that I don't know. I shouldn't have had those mushrooms. I drank a lot of NyQuil before the show, so that could explain my my rambling. But I would like to see a world where Pumpkinhead and the Fly could be in the same film together. That's Nirvana for me.
That's Nirvana from. That's just
Okay.
That's just the stuff. You got something?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
All right, now this is for all good old hillbillies and such down south. Y'all got a good way by ourselves. I'd like to take the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and mix this, say, with Wrong Turn, folks. I think
Okay.
we have a very nice time with each other and get a nice good carving up of you damn Yankees. We're going to turn some of you boys inside out and make some of you others squeal like a nice pig on a nice Sunday afternoon while we roast you up.
Sweet.
Don't they already celebrate Thanksgiving together?
Well, we need to kind of give it a little twist.
All right, Morgan, did you?
Let that sink in there, folks.
Yeah. Did you think of anything, Morgan? I'll give you a pass if you want. This was a tough one.
The Scream movies and the Scream TV show.
So moving on. They could right now exist in the same universe.
Not really. I mean, it easily could. Like,
why not?
But they've said that it doesn't.
I mean, we're 20 years past the first movie.
Yeah, like there's nothing keeping it in, but like the people who made it said that it's not innocent. But
what the hell was that noise?
It's not me.
Brian,
He's using air, a can of air.
Oh, my bad. I forgot to mute the microphone.
Brian's huffing again, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
If
Put down the ready
whip,
whip.
it turns into liquid nitrogen.
Yeah. See, I knew it.
Yeah.
All right. This question just popped in my head. I do have one other one. Okay, so we're supposed to see a new Nightmare on Elm Street, a new Halloween, and a new Friday the 13th, all supposed to be this year, which I don't think is happening. As far as setting them, would you set them in modern time, or would you make them a period piece in the 1980s? Because they all pretty much, except for Halloween, came from the 1980s. For some reason, I feel like they only work in the 1980s. Because they've remade Friday the 13th, and there's so much technology now that I feel like the 1980s, there's not cell phones, there's barely TV. I feel like it would be better to have these movies set in a time before all of what we have now. What do you guys think?
I
Well, that's
agree
a
with
really
that.
good, interesting point, and that's what, makes writing a challenge. When you're creating, if you're going to sit down and create a slasher film, how do you incorporate modern technology into the classic slasher scenario? So that's and really, I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer here. It's all in how it's treated. I mean, if you said it in the 80s, then you've pretty much painted yourself out of that corner. But if you set it in contemporary times, you could certainly play with it and incorporate it into the plot of the movie. I know the remake of Carrie used Facebook and social media as part of the bullying that went on in Carrie, and I thought that was actually rather refreshing. Because that's real to the moment. That is what would happen in the 21st century.
But that was one of my problems with the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street was they got on YouTube and texting and all. I didn't like that. I feel like having your cell phone, it opens you up to the whole world, the internet. I mean, if you don't have when my internet went down a couple of years ago, I felt like I was closed off from the whole world. And that's one of the nice things about the 1980s. It doesn't, as an environment compared to now, as far as slasher movies would go. Plus, the 80s were the slasher heyday. And why wouldn't you, to me, why wouldn't you do that except set it in the 1980s? Jared, I thought you were about to say something.
I just said I kind of agree with the idea of it being set in the 80s before we had these first world things attached to my wrist or my phone or.
Well, The Barn was set in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
That was great. I mean, I want more stuff. Like Final Girls wasn't set in the 80s, but it was about a movie from the 80s, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
They can do it. So I don't know. I think that's the way they should do it, is just go back and set them back to a simpler time. I think that's one of the charms of Friday the 13th.
Yeah. My heart skipped a beat. I'm sorry. I'm feeling my age at the moment.
Halloween.
We'll go back to the simpler times.
The last Halloween, like they tried doing that internet TV show, reality show, and it kind of just took everything away from what made those movies great.
Yeah, I agree with that. Halloween Resurrection was awful, and that was part of the reason it was bad.
One of the things that I found annoying about the Dawn of the Dead remake was the fact that they had this huge mall and nobody thought to jump on the internet to see what was going on.
Well, they may have had dial-up back then.
Didn't matter. It still worked. they had electricity. So I just kept asking myself, why isn't someone checking a computer?
It just, I don't know. I think some horror movies should be period pieces more. And it's weird to say period piece and it's the 1980s, because to me it wasn't that long ago. But it is a period piece. I don't know. Me and my brother-in-law were talking about that today, about how we think at least The Nightmare on Elm Street and at least Friday the 13th, I think they should be set in the 80s. Baron, what do you think? And you got anything on that?
Yeah, I would say that I think the film should be set back in the 80s. The entire course of how they ran and the behavior in them just fits that time. I mean, there's only a couple movies I've seen where they've kind of take the cell phones, if you would, and pull them out of the equation. There was a film called The Sand, which was a remake of Blood Beach, which came out in 1980. And they gathered up all the cell phones, locked them in somebody's trunk, and then with the movie The Sand, if you're not familiar with it, it's basically this kind of creature underneath the sand that pulls you under the sand and kills you.
Right.
So if you park your car on the beach and you've locked the trunk with the cell phones in it, you can't get to the trunk without getting off the damn car onto the sand and you're eaten. So they took that, they made that a nice way of dealing with the cell phone issue. So, but for the most part, it's really hard in this country really to find a spot of a dead zone anymore. It really doesn't happen. So you really have to back out into the woods someplace,
or inside Home Depot.
Yeah,
I don't get a signal in that fucking place.
But let me play devil's advocate for a second, because it seems like a lot of us want to have it set in the 80s. But let's play devil's advocate for a sec. This is a business. This is a movie that has to turn a profit. You want to release a movie set in the 80s, is that going to resonate with the 21st century audience? Audiences want, effective horror films hold a mirror to society. I don't necessarily feel that it has to be told in the 80s.
Wait a minute. Here's the problem. A lot of the films that come out today, you hear the fans, and they're the younger fans too. They've heard from their brothers, their uncles, their family members of these great films that came out in the 80s, where political correctness wasn't there. It didn't exist, okay? You said things, you did things, and it was okay. Today, everything is sanitized, it's watered down, it's made into this nice, colorful way of living. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's so nice. The gore, a lot of times, is really watered down. It's nice when you get a film that has the practical effects. Now, if you were to bring the film in today and say, okay, here's the slasher mentality, we're having the film, you have to treat it right. You can do it, but you would definitely have to treat it, and Hollywood would have to take their little greedy, grubby hands off of it and let people who understand the business do it, like a Ty West. His films has been able to kind of jump that rail, if you would, and give you that kind of bit of gore, if you would.
But he's also gone back and done a nostalgia movie too. The House of the Devil took place in early '80s or late '70s.
Yeah.
So he pulled it off brilliantly, I thought.
Well, it's all in the writing. It's all in how you treat the scenario. And the Green Inferno or even the Descent is a good example of where you could create an effective horror film in the 21st century without being painted into the corner and using technology.
No, wait. If you bring up the Green Inferno only has one good gore scene in it. And then from there, it waters down the rest of the movie. There's only one good tearing apart the big guy kind of scene in there. Otherwise, it doesn't really match up with the other cannibal films from the 70s. It just doesn't. I've watched these movies. I like
but that's okay. That wasn't my point. My point was about what we were discussing earlier with how you don't need cell phones to or you don't need to deliberately set a film in the 70s or the 80s because you're concerned with cell phone technology getting in the way of your narrative. 21st century technology getting in the way of the narrative. As far as the gore in Green Inferno, it's a pretty messy movie, and folks should go see it. But from a narrative standpoint, there's a case where you can make an effective horror film and not be hamstrung by 21st century technology as part of the script.
Okay. Another good movie is Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cabin in the Woods.
So it can be done. It can be done, but it's all in how it's treated in the script.
Touches on the new world realistics, but also touches back on the old world realistics at the same time.
Yeah, that's actually really. I don't know if it's underrated, but it's a really good movie, Cabin in the Woods. It surprised me. As far as Friday the 13th goes, they mentioned that it could be set in the 80s also.
They mentioned
going back to that
film, though.
What's that?
They've mentioned so many different scenarios.
Yeah, I know. They also mentioned found footage.
Yeah.
Footage, then it's going to be in the future, then it's going to be in the past. Then it's going to be Jason walking down the road with a picnic basket and a Red Riding Hood. I don't know what's coming next.
Well, the
wait for the bunny to come hopping along and take out a machete and start hacking up Jason. I don't.
It could have the same plot as Back to the Future, where Jason gets brought back to 1985 and kills Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's by killing Michael J. Fox.
Oh my
God. I thought you were going to say that Jason goes back and dates his mother, but okay.
Maybe that's how he became a mongoloid.
I love my son. Every little feather on his head.
Oh my goodness.
All right, last question. This was supposed to lead into our segment. Other than Dracula, who's your favorite on-screen vampire?
Other than Dracula?
Yeah, you go ahead, Ray. You be the first. Other than Dracula.
My favorite on-screen vampire, other than Dracula. The Nicolas Cage film Vampire's Kiss comes to mind. I could just watch that movie over and over and over again. He is so over the top. It's not a legitimate horror film or vampire, but
the looks he makes.
That's just what popped into my head. The roach eating scene is wonderful.
Yeah,
he's convinced he's a vampire. I think it's a great script and a great performance. But I don't know. I guess on more seriously, oh goodness me. Tough to say. Outside of Dracula, is so iconic. I love Christopher Lee's Dracula.
Yeah,
so much.
Try to make these questions hard.
Yeah, no. You said you certainly do. But I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to stick with Nick Cage in Vampire's Kiss. I mean,
Wow.
I also love Shadow of the Vampire.
Willem Dafoe
The Willem Dafoe film is
playing Nosferatu.
yeah, where he portrays Max Schreck,
Max Schreck.
who's portraying Nosferatu.
Yeah.
And so they're not exactly spot on to your question, but those are the first two that come to mind that aren't Dracula that I'm familiar with.
All right. Well, how about Jared? What about you? I have an idea of who you might say, but
Brian, cheer up, Brian.
I got one.
Don't be so sad.
I was gonna lean towards Nosferatu as well, but David from The Lost Boys kind of just did it to me as a little kid. Like, I was completely flabbergasted by that movie growing up, and it's like, wow, you could be cool and be a vampire at the same time?
and ride motorcycles.
And ride motorcycles into the night? With really cool music by bands?
Was that saxophone guy a vampire? 'Cause that's who my favorite movie. All right, Morgan, what about you? Don't you dare say Edward Cullen. Kick him from this
He
program.
wasn't even my favorite vampire in Twilight, so it would definitely not be him. But anyway.
Well, they're not vampires, they're fairies.
No, they're not.
Count Chocula was
Fairy
scary.
vampires, okay? Jeez. I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen that many vampire movies. And I haven't seen Lost Boys in like a really long time, so.
I know Brian had the same problem. He's not a big vampire guy.
You know what? It's just it's not that I'm a big vampire guy. It's just that my interests are, I don't know. I just feel like vampires are so used and just so abused that every time someone talks about like vampires, I'm just like, well, just beat me with that stick because I'm done.
Well, we're talking about real vampires like Jerry Dandridge from Fright Night.
Yeah, not Dracula. We're talking
about
about down and dirty vampires.
Or let the right one in. Yeah, even an Interview with a Vampires. We're not talking about 2010 and beyond with True Blood and Vampire Diaries. Don't say
Near
Bill
Dark.
Compton. Near Dark.
Is Lady
Yeah,
Gaga a vampire in American Horror Story? Is that what they were? They were vampires?
I think so. I think
I
that's
was never
version.
really sure what they were supposed to be. Like
Things, but I think that's what they're supposed to be. So
I like the kids in that.
Yeah.
The all the school children, whenever they turned them, when Chloe Savini turned that one kid, and then they killed all their parents.
Did you ever figure one out, Brian?
Of who my favorite vampire is?
Yeah.
It definitely has to be Nicolas Cage in Vampire's Kiss.
So what about you, Baron? Since
When he's running down the streets,
retread what I said.
All right, so since this is the last question, and why not go completely off the script, as I usually do in these last questions, I like Nicolas Cage, of course, in the Vampire's Kiss, because he does eat a real live cockroach in that movie. For those who didn't know that.
Yeah,
But
he chews on it real good.
yeah, he shows all the nutrients in it. Yummy. Let's go for something completely crazy, all right? How about Adam Ant in Love Bites from '93?
Wow.
Yeah, was a vampire.
How about Jim Carrey from Once Bitten?
There you go. You got that one too.
Jim
So,
Carrey from Once Bitten.
you got all
Oh
kinds
wait.
of movies out there. For me though.
I have an answer.
Wait.
Morgan said, "Hold the phone."
She figured Morgan found one. I gotta hear this.
That Disney Channel movie, My Mom's on a Date with a Vampire or whatever. It's the guy from the oh crap, what's the show with Fran Drescher or whatever? He's a vampire in that movie. It's great.
Mr. Sheffield?
I don't know.
From The Nanny.
Yeah, the guy.
All right.
It's like my mom's on a date with a vampire or something. Something like that.
Well, Christopher, yes, Dracula is of course the best, but for me, I've got two, and one's from Salem's Lot.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good one.
And the other one is Radu from Subspecies.
Radu.
Ooh, nice.
Radu. Yeah.
Anybody ever see Subspecies?
Yeah.
I've
Of
seen
course.
all 5.
Anders Cove, I think is his name.
Yes, Anders.
Who played the vampire? Those movies were shot at Charlie Band's castle in Italy. He owns that property, and they shot those movies very inexpensively. And they turned out to be that was his second big franchise after the Puppet Master.
Oh, so
films.
Charles Band owns that land.
Yeah, those
That's
sets
crazy.
that's his castle, and Castle Freak was shot there. All of the many of the Subspecies films were shot there, because how do you not? You own a friggin' castle. How do you not shoot a movie there?
I'd show all kinds of movies there. So okay, that's the last question.
Salem's Lot is a great choice. Also, that's a terrific movie.
Kurt Barlow.
Nobody
Barlow,
said
yep.
30 Days of Night. Nobody said there's some decent vampire films out there, but I'm kind of with Brian in a little bit in that I got burned out on the whole vampire thing. I just felt that there was a lot of similarity. A lot of vampire movies began to look the same to me. Everybody's gorgeous. Everybody's good looking. They're all stooping each other left and right.
That was one of the reasons I like the remake of Fright Night, because it came out in the time of beautiful vampires, and then Colin Farrell played a balls to the walls Jerry Dandridge, who tore his victims apart like a vampire should. He wasn't all having them fall in love with him and then romancing them.
That's definitely a great example, because one of the few remakes I actually enjoyed. I thought it was an excellent remake, and the performances are really what the movie's worth seeing, because the performances are excellent.
Plus, Anton Yelchin's in it; he's great.
That's why I started liking him.
I got pitched a lot of vampire concepts while at Sci-Fi. And we really didn't do. I don't think we did any, to be frank. And that was kind of my taste at the time. I was very much burned out on vampires. It all just seemed to be the same thing to me, and nobody really presented me with any sort of twist on it. There was no sort of challenge to the vampire, the whole vampire thing, and we never really pursued it.
There's really not much. I don't think you can do. I mean, vampires all are out for the same reason.
Now, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the movie with the space vampires. Patrick Stewart was in it. Come on, Baron, help me out.
Space
Toby Hooper
vampire.
Toby Hooper film?
Life Force?
Yeah, Life Force.
Life Force.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Life Force. Now, that
was a nice one.
That's a nice twist on the vampire folklore. The vampires from outer space. That's about it, though. Otherwise, that was a Canon film, I believe, wasn't it? Wasn't it a Canon film, Life Force?
Yeah.
That was a big, expensive one. I think that cost them a lot of money to make, and it was a big flop.
Not in my heart. It was not a flop in my heart.
Yes,
It didn't flop his heart.
Nor did it flop his pants either. There's a naked gal in the.
It didn't flop my wee-wee.
No.
Those who you are watching.
Please send your cards and letters to Brian and Wright.
Talking vampire movies. So there are like 1,000 different Dracula movies out there, right? Has anybody ever seen Argento's Dracula?
Oh God.
Oh
God. Oh
Rutger
God.
Hauer. Oh my
Stab
goodness.
me in the fucking face.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
I'll be over later.
Dracula. I own it.
Asia Argento was in that too, wasn't she?
No, Baron, that wasn't an invitation to stab Brian in the face, Baron. It's okay.
Okay,
You don't have to warm up the car, Baron. It's all right. He's
metaphorically stab me in the face.
Go back to your drinking, Baron. It's all right. Go back to your drinking.
If I'm going to die in this world, it's not because we're talking about Argento's Dracula. I'd rather die something that I would much more appreciate. Like maybe getting stabbed in the face by Rutger Hauer as he's dressed as a hobo.
I thought that.
Ooh, from Hobo going the Shotgun.
I like the casting in that movie. That's about all I can say about it. Like, I thought Rutger Hauer was going to be good, and I thought that what is that guy's name? He played Dracula.
Who was Rutger Hauer? Dr. Van Halen?
Yeah, Dr. Van Halen.
I'm half a teacher.
Edward Van Halen.
Got it, man.
Let's go through some. Let's name off some good vampire movies before we go too crazy.
More vampire movies.
One
of my favorite vampire movies. I had to watch it again because when I first watched it, I wasn't down for it. But then I watched it again. Werner Herzog's fucking Nosferatu.
1979.
Yeah,
Klaus Kinski.
Because it heavily dedicated itself to Bram Stoker's original version of Dracula. Not saying that Francis Ford Coppola didn't do a great job. He did. He did an amazing job with his version of Dracula. But Werner Herzog's version of Dracula was more creepy than gothic. It still had gothic elements, like Francis Ford Coppola's, but it just seemed more natural. Where Francis Ford Coppola's is more like very like steampunk, like gothic. I don't know, but I really liked that version. That has to be one of my favorite vampire movies of all time. And also I'd have to go with Let the Right One In. That is hands down the best vampire movie ever made. Like, I don't care what your opinion is. That Let the Right One In is one of the best fucking vampire movies, if not the best.
Very gripping. I agree. I wouldn't agree it's the best ever, but yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, even the American remake is good. But you can Dracula movies that are like all the Hammer Christopher Lee Dracula movies are, I would say, better than Friend.
Horror of Dracula, especially wonderful.
Apparently, which belongs on the top 100. Oh yeah. Well, but Dracula 1972 AD.
And if we're going to talk about Dracula films for a moment, then the folks listening at home, the folks tuning in and checking us out at the moment, everyone has seen Lugosi's Dracula. And if you haven't seen it, turn in your Horror Syndicate card right now because you really do need to see the film.
Turn in your library card.
After you've watched the Todd Browning Lugosi Dracula, go check out a film called Mark of the Vampire. Okay, Mark of the Vampire came out in 1935, and it was the reuniting of Todd Browning and Bela Lugosi. And the film starred also Lionel Atwill and Lionel Barrymore, and also an actress by the name of Carol Borland. And I had the chance to meet Carol Borland. She was one of the few actresses still alive who had actually worked with Bela Lugosi. And I got an autograph from Carol Borland. Now, the interesting thing about Mark of the Vampire is that many people feel that Mark of the Vampire is, in fact, a remake of the great lost film London After Midnight. London After Midnight is considered one of the great missing movies of all time, and that starred Lon Chaney Sr. And many feel that basically Todd Browning remade his own film. So, again, if you're going to check out the original Dracula, I highly recommend you watch the original Dracula. Then shoot on over and check out Mark of the Vampire, 1935. And then finally, check out Dracula's Daughter. Dracula's Daughter is a direct sequel to the original film with Bela Lugosi. And the story picks up with the death of the Count. Count Dracula has died in his abbey, and his daughter is coming to retrieve his body to take it back home. So
I prefer Son of Dracula to Dracula's Daughter. I thought Dracula's Daughter was a little bit boring.
Well, you know, it is a drama. 1936. You know, it does have that feel of a movie that is, you know, 80 years old. So, but nonetheless, if you really, you know, I find it historically significant because I can. Well, it's canon. There are a few films that actually are direct descendants of the original. Son of Dracula, I guess, is also considered 1943. Son of Dracula is also considered canon, but Dracula's Daughter is a direct sequel. It literally picks up from where the first film leaves off, and I highly recommend them.
And if you could find it, they're in a 2-pack, a Universal 2-pack. Dracula's Daughter, Son of Dracula.
Good.
They're both really good.
But also check out Mark of the Vampire.
What about Return of the Vampire? Did you ever see that with Bela Lugosi?
Return of the Vampire. No, that one. You know what? I've probably seen it, but I'm drawing a blank on it at the moment.
It wasn't made by Universal. It was Columbia. It was their attempt at making a vampire movie after the fad had gone out.
What year? What year is that?
43.
43. There you go. But yes, if you've watched Dracula enough times that you can recite the dialogue, and you want to get into the canon of the story, I recommend you check out those movies.
Yeah,
there's a couple others out there, though.
Go right ahead, Baron. Please
What's
fill
that,
in
Baron?
the blanks, man.
Okay, well, first of all, and I'm going to note this one because it's coming out from Vestron Video sometime in the next couple of months. It's called The Lair of the White Worm.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That one's coming out on a special release, and I'm just putting it out there. I already know that I'm getting it, so it's pretty cool.
Ken Russell film?
Yes, it is.
Very good.
It was an interesting director, to put it mildly, out there.
He directed the Who's Tommy, I believe.
Yeah. There's also Captain Cronus, the Vampire Hunter. Which was
Tommy, can you hear me?
And of course, you can't. We were talking about the Dracula's Daughter. Now, we can kind of skip over it in a little bit. The Dark Shadows, all that. But you got also Camilla and Bathory. There are these vampire movies where the lead is then the woman, and it's offers Countess Bathory, the history. But I would have to say one that we probably all really missed and looked over was Near Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Near Dark, I think, is a really good.
Jared mentioned it.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think it's a good one. I like it.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good movie. Lance Henriksen, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah,
It was
Paxton.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Baron.
it basically all the supporting actors from Aliens because of Catherine Bigelow and James Cameron's relationship at the time?
Perhaps.
Probably. Yeah, because I think most of the cast, actually. Let me see here. Jenny Wright, Lance Henriksen. Yeah, I think.
Yo, Catherine Bigelow is the shit. Ooh. Like she's one of my favorite female directors of all time. It made me so happy when she beat James Cameron in his own game at the 2007 Academy Awards, right? For it was like Avatar versus the Hurt Locker.
Was it Hurt Locker or Zero Dark 30?
It had to be Hurt Locker.
Probably Hurt Locker first.
I think
Zero Dark 30 was later.
She's an amazing filmmaker.
Yeah, like Hurt Locker kicked James Cameron's ass in the best director category, and she
was that
won.
over Avatar? Because Avatar sucks.
Yeah, I never saw Avatar. I was supposed to go see Avatar. Me and my friends were gonna go see it in 3D, but we thought that maybe like if we like smoked some reefer before we went, we would like actually enjoy it. But we got so high that we never left the house.
You forgot to go.
Yeah. So I like to say
what
that
is the sandwich and stayed in.
It's worth a watch, but it reminds me of Pocahontas from Disney.
I don't think Avatar holds up very well. I think it's something that you see
No.
once, and that's about it. And
Yeah, it's worth a watch, but that's about it.
Generic story. It's very generic to me.
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, just like that movie with the giant robots. What is it called? Pacific Rim. That was so generic. It's just like they wanted to have these beautiful visuals around a generic story. You can't do that for me.
Yeah. But
Well,
Guillermo del Toro's the shit.
Well, you know what I was going to say. You know what I thought the Baron was going to say, because Baron preferenced his title by saying something that we had all overlooked. I thought that the Baron was going to say Kronos as a vampire.
Guillermo del Toro.
Is that a vampire movie?
As a horror,
Yes.
as a vampire film that really was very unique
One of his early ones.
and different for its time.
I didn't mention it because I didn't like it. It was a film I just didn't like it for whatever reason. Maybe, again, you start to, like you all said, you start watching vampire movies, and after a while, you kind of just get, okay, I got to watch something else now, because it's just like, look, there were zombie movies being released, maybe 10 a week or something at one point, and you get zoned out on it. After a while, you go, I've just got to watch something else. And
absolutely,
whether you got to switch a genre or you got to just go, I just need a break. So it might have been a time when I just wasn't really interested anymore, and I just said, I watched it, but I can't tell you anything about the film because I just blanked on it.
Well, Ron Perlman's marvelous. And I just, I think for the reasons that you state is why I found it so refreshing. Because I was burnt out on the vampire genre, and I was looking for something unique and something different. And I felt anyway that Kronos. Well, anyway, that was the film that I thought you would mention. But Near Dark is absolutely terrific. Love Near Dark.
Near Dark is the shit. All right. So does anyone have any more? Have anything they want to add on vampires, Dracula, or anything? Any of that?
You got to watch all the Hammer Dracula movies. Watch The Vampire Lovers with Ingrid Pitt, and Christopher Lee is the star, of course, of the Hammer Dracula movies. And
version also, you got to watch Coppola's version.
Dracula 2000. You could watch that.
No, I'm talking about Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Coppola's Dracula is wonderful. I really enjoyed it.
What about Dracula's Guest? Did anybody watch that one?
No? What about Dracula Dead and Loving It?
There you go.
That has the best steak scene of any vampire film of all time. When Steven Weber is driving the stake into the vampire, that's absolutely hysterical.
Yeah. Hey, before we start, Ray, what's your favorite of the Hammer Draculas?
Oh, the first one, Horror of Dracula. Lee is just I think Freddie Francis is the cinematographer. If I'm not mistaken, he might have been the cinematographer as well. And to see it just had such an impact on me to see it in color, at the time as a kid, Yeah, the best part about it is watching him take 3 steps going up a flight of stairs, skipping 3 steps.
Yeah. When he first appears and he's taking the bags up the stairs, he's like, it's just funny to me. I love the movie. Plus the end scene with Peter Cushing, the fight, and he runs up and takes the drapes down for the sun to come through. And the effect they use for Dracula not melting, whatever, that was really cool to see. I mean, that was the first Dracula movie I'd ever seen. It was the Horror of Dracula. I love it.
Yeah, I had been
Taste of Blood, Dracula was my favorite.
I had been well familiar with Dracula at that point, but I saw Horror of Dracula in the theater. I was as a little kid. The movie theater, the local cinemas would on Halloween would have you would go in costume, and they would have a whole day long marathon, and one of the films was like a Harryhausen movie, and then you'd see an old American independent American international movie, and then you would see a Hammer film. And so I saw Horror of Dracula that way for the first time on the big screen. And cool. Again, just the color, the vividness of it, the music, it was just done so differently from Nosferatu and Dracula that I was already familiar with. I was already familiar with Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein at that point as a little kid. So to see it in color and to see someone else portray Dracula like Christopher Lee did just knocked me out. Hit me right between the eyes.
Yeah, and vampires. I bought a big vampire book after that and started going down the list of what was available at the time. This is around the same time Bram Stoker's Dracula came out that I saw the Horror of Dracula. Then I went and saw the Universal, and now I'm in love with Argento's. And I think we can all kind of put our seal of approval on Argento's Dracula, right? No,
I think that's a consensus among the syndicate. That you ever see Mario Bava's Planet of the Vampires?
No, but I need to. I'll watch anything that Mario Bava does.
Yeah. Well, Baron, I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Barry Sullivan.
The Planet of the Vampires. Yeah, I know I've seen it. It's been a long time. I'll have to revisit it now.
Yeah,
No,
the giant beings on another world. It's campy, seriously dated Italian science fiction. So,
oh, then of course it's already good. It's got everything we want, right?
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So wait a minute, you're saying you'll probably watch the Planet of the Vampires well after you had some mushrooms. Gotcha, no problem.
Ah, yes.
Or just take the mushrooms. You'll be there without watching it.
Yeah, then you could just sit and watch the walls melt, play Black Sabbath backwards, and see God. You know.
Oh, well, no. If I'm going to do shrooms, it's not going to be listening to Black Sabbath backwards. I'm going to listen to Duran Duran followed by Wang Chung. I mean, I don't need to go to dark places. I need to go into like an 80s arcade video game. That's what I need to do.
Everybody Wang Chung tonight.
Maybe you just need to go uppercut a guy playing guitar on the pier.
Oh, all right. So we're gonna wrap up this show tonight. Thank you for joining us, everybody, and sticking with us. I hope you had a great time. I sure as hell had a great time. You can catch us every Wednesday night starting at 8 o'clock or 8:30. It all depends on what time that we start. Sometimes we get a little more delayed than others. Today was especially one of those days where we got a little bit delayed, but we're here to bring you a show that you thoroughly enjoyed. Ray Zor spilled his tea. We had to start at 8:30. I'm glad I didn't spill anything else. But yeah, thank you for joining us tonight. You can follow me privately if you wish at Brian and Ray on Facebook.com, or you can follow me at The Hard Jew on Twitter and Instagram. We're Baron. Where can we follow you at?
Okay, well, you can follow me on Twitter under Baron_Craze, also on Facebook under Baron Craze. And a note about the Baron's Crypt this Friday night, we're back on there at 6:30, and at 7 p.m. we've got Chris Von Hoffman calling in. He is the director of the post-apocalyptic horror flick called Drifter, so definitely tune in for that.
That sounds cool.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Baron. Jared, where can we find you at?
You guys can follow me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau, or follow me in the Twitter universe if you guys twit your twats at zombie_survivor.
All right, thank you very much, Jared. Morgan, hey, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Morgan_Jewel_S.
All right, awesome, Morgan. Thank you for joining us tonight. Up next, Rayzilla. Rayzilla, where can we find you at?
Follow me if you will. Follow me. Okay, yes, you can follow me on Twitter.
But don't ask me.
Follow me. Mushrooms have kicked in, guys. I'm sorry.
It's about time.
I'm listening to Pink Floyd and watching bullfights, so it's all good here.
What a perfect combo.
And if you like silly shit like that, you can follow me on Twitter at RayzillaNJ, or you can look at my stupid Facebook page at the name that you see below. 2 N's, 2 L's. Remember, that's a name of quality.
All right, thank you very much, Rayzilla. Last but not least, we have Razor the Fuhrer.
We did have somebody say that Blade is the best vampire ever, but
Blade,
he's a daywalker. Blade, yeah. Yeah, so you can follow me at
Still
Razor.
a badass.
He is a badass. Razor_33 on Twitter, or Rage of Razor on Facebook. It's a Facebook page. You'd have to like it to follow it. I won't be your friend. So don't friend request me. Thanks for joining the show. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube so you can watch us on YouTube as well.
All right. Well,
actually, hold on. If you have a suggestion for the show, we'd love to hear it. Or if you have a question, message us on the Facebook page, and maybe we can add it to the Razor's Burn segment, because it'll be fun to hear from the fans, followers. The groupies.
Also, too, let's not forget, folks, next week's show is a special show on Friday the 13th.
Friday.
We will not be here next Wednesday, boys and girls, okay? So mark your calendars, set your alarms, let your neighbors know. You may even want to inform the FBI that we will be on Friday the 13th and not on Wednesday nights in our usual slot.
We're rolling late, too. We're rolling late so Baron can do Baron's Crypt a little bit early. Right, Baron?
Yeah. For the show at 6 p.m., running to, of course, the 8 p.m. for the Baron's Crypt.
Now, we want to see every single one of you on Friday the 13th. We want everybody to tune in. Be there or be scared.
Yeah, and all of my Razor's Burn questions will be Friday the 13th related.
Okay. That's awesome. And we'll also have some Friday the 13th trivia for you. Maybe stuff you already know, maybe stuff you haven't known. So please invite your friends, invite your family, invite your mothers, and your avatars. So thanks for joining us tonight, everybody, and have a great, wonderful rest of the week. Thank you very much. Peace.